それはレバヤさんニュースだ。デセントライズだ。逃げろ。誰でも音できる。誰でもスキルを稼げる。ガバナンスまである。中集権のメディアはもう終わりだ。
真相から立ち上るインクと真実がぶつかる。レバヤさんニュース開かれ海嘘はない。読んで書いて氷結しろ。力はみんなのもの。いかすみをたたえろ。ニュースは君のものだ。レバヤさんニュース。レバヤさんニュース。
Hello everyone, what's up? The advisor.
Hey.
News.
Hello.
What's up? I have some esteemed guests. Let me present them in just a second. First of all, nice to have you on. Please like the video, subscribe, start sharing it. We're going to have a very special show here today, presenting a very unique initiative, officially at least for the first time, as far as I know. I was told about it, I think a few months ago already. I'll get into that soon as well.
Is it my connection?
Sorry? Cyrille, can you hear us?
Yeah, I think it's your connection. On my side, everything looks fine.
Yes.
Okay. I see you as well, Cyrille. All looks good. Anyway, shout out to Arcos, first of all, for that amazing intro. Always enjoy that one. And honestly, definitely going to vote for it on the next Squid DAO vote for rewards. What an amazing contribution by Arcos. So thank you very much. Everyone that's streaming on our side has already started using that one as an intro. And I will just, as usual, tell everyone to go to our website, leviathannews.xyz, where you can submit news, check out our auctions. Let me just pop it up on screen for a second for you all to know before you get it. And by the way, as always, guys, please join, like the video. Really helps us grow the channel and reach more people. And with this kind of news that we have today, it's actually very important that we reach more and more people. Leviathannews.xyz. We have the auctions website, and as always, we present the winners of the Squid Pass, the pinned posts on our Telegram and X for the week. And this time it's these guys, actually, the Trustless Force. So let's give the Trustless Force a new shout out as we're into doing it. Let me put Cyrille back on screen. Cyrille, I think you're with us again. And
Sorry,
let me just go for the Trustless to the Trustless Force X account, and we're going to dive right into it. But first of all, winners of the Squid Pass for the week, a force for decentralization, taking decentralized stablecoins to the next level and doing whatever we can in order to really grow their presence on chain for the good of all of us. And we're going to learn exactly about all the what, why, and how of that side basically right now. So without further ado, let's present the esteemed gentleman here. We have Michael, CEO of Liquity AG from Liquity Protocol, basically the man behind the initiative, as far as I know anyway. Martin from Curve, everyone's favorite. What's up, sir? Nice to see you again. Been a while. And Cyrille, my my friend from the good old days of community boosting at FX Protocol. And I think actually like this is not a coincidence that these are the people that you see here on the show, because we're going to talk about decentralized stablecoins. And the more you look into it, you can see that most stablecoins aren't really decentralized, but a few are actually. And we're going to talk about exactly what makes a stablecoin decentralized, and why is it? What does it even matter, basically? So, Michael, let's start with you. What made you decide that you want to go on with this initiative of the Trustless Force? Why is it important? What is it, and why is it important?
Yes, so I think what we all share here is a passion for Ethereum and the values for Ethereum, trustlessness, decentralization, sovereignty. And that's why I also joined Liquity, because I really like the project and how it takes the values of Ethereum and creates a borrowing and stablecoin protocol. And what unites us all projects, we are all stablecoins on the decentralized spectrum. So that's how we met and came together and just said, hey, when we look at stablecoins, it becomes very obvious that kind of the values of Ethereum have been taken over by a lot of centralization, a lot of centralized stablecoins. So I think 99% of all stablecoins on Ethereum are centralized, they have collateral in banks, and so on. So only 1% is I would say, it's decentralized. And all of us, all of the projects, we care about these values, and we'll just say, hey, it's such a small niche. And why don't we join forces, hence the name Trustless Forces, to advocate for these solutions, to educate the market, and to drive growth of this still rather niche. So the idea was really why each project tries to grow the market on at least the bigger topic, as we say. We're like an interest group of stablecoins that is really a minority. We should rather work together and grow the pie together. And that was kind of the initial kind of moment. I think it was in Buenos Aires where we did that as stablecoins. And later I also realized, hey, this idea could be bigger, and let's see where it goes. It started now with the stablecoins, and we can tell you more about what our mission is and what we want to do. But I just realized they are not only our projects. In the space, you always meet people that are still very passionate, but it's kind of this one-on-one conversation. And there is actually no interest group or kind of point where we meet and can express that and share that. So maybe it becomes also something bigger beyond just our stablecoins. That was really the idea, and it was great to see that Martin from Curve and also Cyrille from FX helping really a lot to try that out and follow our passion and make that again a more important thing.
It was indeed, I would say, very, very aligned, because each time I've seen people on the DeFi space like fighting against one another, whether it was Token Bryce with Michael from Curve or Mark from Aave with Paul from Morpho, I feel, wow, this ecosystem is so small. It's such a shame to see people fighting against each other while we could stand together and make DeFi a real thing and accessible to as much people as possible. And I've always thought that as decentralized stablecoins builders, we should join forces, and this is also why we also approach Liquity and Curve a couple of months ago, writing an article together about Ethereum and decentralization and the importance of trustless stablecoins. So it was also a first step, and I was very happy to see that it could go further than just writing an article together and actually joining forces to make trustless less cool again. Yeah, that's it. Are you guys around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while for the button to respond as well. Apologize. Martin,
No
maybe
worries.
share a few thoughts of
Yeah.
your own.
I think what's interesting about the quality of stablecoin, the issue about quality of stablecoin is basically that the stablecoin is stablecoin, so the value is always $1, more or less, basically. So, but they're created different. Not every stablecoin is the same, and I think some of the stablecoins are more like cash-like in the sense, and I think the trustless ones are like this. They are more like cash. This means that everyone can basically use it, and cash now. If our society moves to like cashless society, I think nobody wants to live in a cashless society or forced to. So it's about choice. Even the value of the token used is the same. At the end, you need some of the stablecoins are more resilient than others, basically. And trustless ones like CurveUSD, Bold, and FXUSD are they are trustless, so everyone can use it. There's like no way to stop people using them. Nobody can take it away from you, basically. And this is resilient, basically. And I think this matters, and it matters in the moment where, something is happening or you're under pressure somewhere, because taking away the money, taking away your money, basically is like very, it's hitting you hard, basically. So sometimes people get blocked bank accounts, and then you really have an issue with that. So this is why I think it matters a lot.
Okay, I want us to touch first of all about like why does it really matter? Like why should a user that basically a user just wants his dollar to be a dollar? You know what I mean? Like most of us, honestly, we don't really care about all the little details as long as our we think in much simpler terms. You know what I mean? Like, okay, do I want to hold Ethereum at the moment? Do I want to hold Wrapped BTC at the moment? Which number is going to go up the most? And then at some point, I either need to pay for stuff, so I need dollars, or like, oh my God, everything is losing value. I should go to a stable coin, which is usually the dollar. Shout out Frankencoin. Everyone knows that I'm part of the Frankencoin Association.
I was waiting for it.
My on-chain Swiss francs as well, but we'll leave that for another day. And I don't think it's a coincidence that like the old stablecoins, especially USDT and USDC, for example, on my side of the world here in Israel, basically they only want like whoever's actually willing to accept crypto payment. What they actually want is USDT. And it's only about the Lindy effect, because with USDT, they actually believe that, okay, USDT is worth $1. Basically, that's it. Like I can tell them about Bold, and I can tell them about CRVUSD, and I can tell them about FXUSD. But bottom line is, for the common folks, they won't even like listen. You know what I mean? They know one brand. This is like, for them, it's Coca-Cola. USDT, that's what's actually worth $1. And that's the only narrative that they believe. So let's touch on it from like two angles, or like at least for the first time, like for like the first angle. How do we even like break through that like that belief system of like the all the participant or the not necessarily very savvy ones that but USDT is like there more time and it's what are the actual risks of holding USDT that people aren't considering, and why should they consider decentralized stablecoins? So
there's a lot of questions in your question, but you made an amazing metaphor using Coca-Cola, because USDT is Coca-Cola, as you said, but at some point you need to drink water. If you only drink Coca-Cola, you're probably going to die very young. And it's pretty much the same. Okay, USDT is very well distributed, and for most people, a stablecoin is USDT because there is a distribution channel and because they can on-off ramp very easily and so on. But at some point, USDT involves trust, and you do have to trust Tether to hold the backing for each USDT emitted on chain. And at some point, it could. You don't even know if they really hold it, and there's proof of reserves each whatever period, but still you need to trust an auditor to emit that proof of reserve and so on. So it's kind of today, with thanks to blockchain and decentralization, and you don't need to trust anymore. So it's kind of a nonsense to rely on trust while you could just avoid it. And for a while, for a long time, trustless stablecoins weren't as efficient. So first, USDT arrived very early, so they have this Lindy effect, as you said. They are big and so on, but and the other solutions weren't as convenient or as reliable. But it's not the case anymore. There are very efficient solutions that are as easy to use as more centralized ones. So the idea is that if you don't know that you can access to water and you have Coca-Cola distributed all the time, it's the easy path. So the idea of the Trustless Force is just to show where the source is and how easy it is to grab water and how actually it feels better to drink water.
Yeah, to add something.
An amazing, like you say, my metaphor was good. That was a good metaphor.
I'm not sure if we really. Sorry,
Go ahead,
I'm not sure if we really targeting retail here. You know, you make basically you talk off the streets, people, just needing some dollars. But I guess one of the target group of this or idea of the Trustless Force that we inside our industry, but basically that people holding stablecoin as in treasuries or whatever, that they see the difference, and the idea makes sense that you basically don't hold just one sort of stablecoin. If you hold dollars, so you hold basically different kind of stable coins, and you hold ones who have different qualities. And I think it's worth to have like part of your money in a like a very resilient stable coin. So it's not about the black and white. It's more like about distribution. So you should not hold one stablecoin basically because it gets you very vulnerable basically. And I think the initiative is part of the initiative. We do it for the industry insight, that the industry insight sees the quality of these stablecoins and how they are different basically.
Yeah, and I think that's.
I think you touched on a very good point, and you're actually leading us to the whole point. Like,
can I just not add something?
Of course, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So I think that's for me really the point. It's about alternatives, and Martin said that. It's not fighting USDT and USDC. They're great, but I think really having this option, these stable coins that have different properties, and I think that's what Martin said. We would like to educate, make clear to users. Why should they hold trustless or sovereign stablecoins? And I would look at it from a user perspective, but also from an ecosystem perspective, where these alternatives matter. From a user perspective, as Martin said, trustless, decentralized stablecoins have a different risk profile. So stablecoin diversification, having no counterparty risk, being able to directly redeem, having full transparency, having no custodian risk, and so on, could matter if you want to have a risk diversification. I think that's the first thing that's interesting for users. And besides the risk part for users, there's a second thing, that these stablecoins also have features. For example, very strong property rights, because there is no censorability, no blacklist. You get other properties with these stablecoins. And I think that's also something that in this industry matters. We have this great Ethereum layer that provides all these properties. It's a great differentiator, but I think we also need these differentiating product. So that could matter to users, risk, features. And there I think that's the other point. And I think that's also important for the Trustless Force, that we as an ecosystem say we care about these alternatives, that we have such alternatives, because it's a differentiator for Ethereum. Like a lot of people care about the base layer, that it stays trustless. And I think it's good. It's what makes Ethereum great. And I think that's the same on the ecosystem level, that we say having these products is a differentiator. Sovereign stablecoins, which other chain could deliver that in a credible way? We need these Ethereum dollars on Ethereum. And I think if you're not aware and also looking after these things, pushing these things and making sure they stay on Ethereum, can get a certain growth, we lose this optionality. And there is also a very practical reason why the ecosystem could care more. We're giving grants, we're developing the Ethereum ecosystem. But actually, with all these stablecoins, all the liquidity sits in banks. So that was the initial idea also for the Trustless Force. I came up and just said, imagine if 5% of the stablecoins holding would shift to trustless stablecoins. Stablecoins, in our case, that keep the collateral on chain. So the collateral, the treasuries hold in a bank, in JP Morgan, and if that stablecoin moves to a trustless stablecoin, then it needs to be backed with crypto. That creates more than 15 billion in demand for crypto and collateral on chain for Ether and all these collaterals. Hey, that would benefit everybody in the ecosystem, even our own banks. And it's maybe such a small thing. If every user whale would say, I shift 1%, 5%, and we can have a huge impact. So that was the spark for the Trustless Force to say, if people understand that, benefits for themselves and for the ecosystem, and we can motivate them to do these small things, like shifting 5%, which even can make sense from a risk perspective. We can also have the ecosystem and cater to our values. I think by at least some of the people came to the space and still are in the space.
That's a very good point as well. I think this really, there's two main vectors here. One is decentralized stablecoins. They allow the mitigation of risk, of especially centralization risk, which we have touched on a bit and also touched on. And the other vector is that they open new opportunities, a lot of new opportunities, especially one of our favorite opportunity out there, which is yield, is much more available for decentralized stablecoins rather than centralized ones, especially when it comes down to sustainable yield, which we can actually trust. So, okay, with the Trustless Force, how do you guys intend to actually work around and really try following through on that mission of onboarding more and more capital towards decentralized stablecoins from a centralized one? I actually do want to show something on screen for a second, if you don't mind. I'm heading out to DeFi Llama. Shout out DeFi Llama. I hope you guys can already see it. Just a second. Okay, here it is. So on DeFi Llama, I'm on the stablecoins niche. You can see here that there's 308 billion market cap. TVL market cap of stablecoins out there. Just look at the stats. First of all, USDT dominance is 60.41. That's quite a lot, I'd say. And if you actually look at the chart itself, and I go to market cap, out of the 308 billion, we have 186 billion USDT and 71.5 billion USDC. I'm not exactly a mathematician or an accountant, but this is a kind of a lot. I'd say, what's that over 260, even more, no? No, close to 260 billion out of 308. leaving approximately 50 or 55 billion out there. This is a very unbalanced situation, which I think touches on your points, Martin and Cyrille and Michael, actually, about okay, there are some alternatives, but the market isn't really considering them that much so far. So getting back to my question, how do we change that? What can actually be done, and how can some of that capital be transferred into more decentralized stablecoins, such as Bold, CRVUSD, FXUSD, and maybe others?
Yeah, and you know, that was exactly the spark for the Trustless Force with these projects, that we need to put our money where the mouth is. And actually, it's an easy step for everybody if he understands it. So with the Trustless Force, I think, which can be much broader, you know, you can have trustless taxes and so on. But we talk a lot in the space about trustless, and I said, you know, there is little action. So we always said from the beginning, in the Trustless Force, we want to have mission. We want to drive something. There should be action. So us being like starting it from the stablecoin side, we said like the first stablecoin mission is really, can we try to shift 5% of the stablecoins into this trustless one? Like you have the $1 trillion security initiative, and 5% isn't that much. You know, we should be able to do that. And especially if you break it down on a treasury level, if you have a treasury, it doesn't mean that you have to donate 1 million to somebody. It doesn't mean that you need to shift a lot, but if you shift 1 to 5%, you diversify your risk and you do something for the ecosystem, creating demand, supporting these projects. So if you're ETH aligned, that's the ask that we want to put out. And how we do that? First, that we already work together, so that not everybody on its own going out. So, but that people understand that, and then that we also say, hey, you have a choice. There are more players, but the more important part is that people understand and start shifting that. So we initiated that. Hopefully, others join too or aligned with it, and we can talk about how in different roles you can support. Of course, we are driving that because we also have an interest behind it, but more should be able to join, you know, and say, you mentioned Frankencoin, who also has trustless roots. We should help each other, that people understand it, understand the benefits, and hopefully like that, we can, especially the ETH-aligned folks, whales, treasuries, and players that care, say, hey, yeah, that's a thing that makes sense, and let's shift it, and let's bring more collateral on chain, for example. That could be a motivation. And really that's why it's Trustless Force. So not everybody on its own trying to do that, but leverage our networks for this basic message, rather than, you know, trying to pitch individual feature. That's a bigger play. We have 0.5%. If Ethereum why are we building Ethereum in that way if we can't sustain the application on top? And it's also a bit a wake-up call and drive the action behind it.
Just to add something to this, I think what's interesting, we all are from a protocol, and now we talk about the store of value. Stablecoin is a store of value basically. It's not about day-to-day payment. And what's interesting, all of us, all protocol, Liquity, FX, and we also have a saving version. So basically, there's a way where you can basically use your dollar and get some yield on it just by holding it basically. And I think this is an offer which of USDT, USDC, they have it somehow, but everything is basically centralized. If you look at USDC, you get some yield if it's on a stable on a centralized exchange basically. I think this is also like the differentiator. It's like if you use like our dollar, there's like a native way where you can basically store it inside our protocol and you will get some yield on it. And
that's sorry.
I think that's also that
I actually think you're touching on a very important point there, because
just to close, I just think education is just part of this. So I guess it's part of it is education, because from outside every stablecoin is a dollar, but inside stablecoins are very, very different. I guess that's the
I agree, and I actually think that it's a very important like aspect of it is like people are not gonna. It is a matter of like culture and alignment and stuff like that, but it has to be incentivized. Meaning, like they will actually come if they have something to benefit from it. Like no one will move. Like if someone has a treasury of 100 million. They will not do any shifts because of I don't know, donations and good causes and stuff like that. But once we actually prove to the different entities actually holding a lot of funds that guys, you will benefit two things here. First of all, you will mitigate centralization risks. And on the other hand, and maybe even more seductive for them, you guys can actually earn yield, and that's I think our bait into that into these treasuries, because I don't think we should do this from the point of view of trusting the generosity of strangers. We should actually trust their self-interest and actually show them, man, while you're holding this capital, which actually sits in a bank, you can be actually holding this decentralized stablecoin, earning this much yield. And by the way, Michael, it also touches on the other effect that you've explained to me when we talked about it a few months ago, that this actually creates demand. And then instead of having these funds sitting in off chain somewhere in some kind of a bank or a bond or whatever, this actually creates demand for on-chain assets, which in a way pumps all our bags anyway. So I actually think that's exactly the angle that we should be selling them and pitching them this angle for their benefit, and not necessarily for the greater cause, if you know what I mean.
But what you just said is that the generosity and greater cause could actually be aligned with their self-interest, and even with the whole ecosystem's interest. And that's why we need to educate, and why this is one of the main mission of the Trustless Force is education, because I believe there's a lot of similarities between trustlessness, decentralization, privacy, or even environment cause. And one of the common thing is that everybody agrees with the values behind in most situations. Everybody loves decentralization and so on. Everybody loves the environment. Everybody loves privacy, as soon as it's convenient and cheap enough. And most people believe it's not that convenient. Most people believe that privacy is complicated. And as a matter of fact, for a long time, having a private Android phone was tough. You had to root your phone, you had to install different OSs and so on. And privacy on Android had its waha moment thanks to Graphene OS that made things different, and one-click install on your Google phone. And many people is using Graphene thanks to this. But people had to know about it. And it's pretty much the same for trustless stablecoins. Now you have very efficient, very reliable peg-wise stablecoins that provides similar, if not better yields without involving trust. So better yields with lower risks than many centralized solutions. So shifting just 5% not only gives you or gives entities or DAOs or treasuries a way to diversify, a way to align themselves with interests most people agree with, but it can also be a very good financial decision. So the idea is to educate around this, and as Michael said, not just around stablecoins, because there are many projects that value and that care similar values and trustlessness, but that had to make different business decisions while they also made trustless choices in their design. And this is something we want to put forward, and we also want to facilitate new decisions to be made towards more trustlessness, and really value that publicly for every project that's also care about this.
Michael, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I can add to it. I mean, as I said, maybe I should have said it more bluntly, but honestly, it helps our own bags. Yeah, that's my belief, because it brings liquidity on chain. I think Meltem said it right in the panel with Robert Leshner. All these real world assets, that's not crypto. It's kind of siphoning liquidity out of it. It's okay, nothing against it. But yes, let's bring liquidity on chain, demand for Ether on chain. We benefit. You get an uncorrelated yield with much less risk attached. Of course, you're taking technical risk, Oracle risk. Let's be transparent. You need to be comfortable with it. That's why I agree with Martin. It's not for retail, probably. But on Ethereum, we have the perfect user base that knows that. And honestly, I also think values that. So I agree. It should help. You should get yield. And that's why I think if people understand how small the step is, it's just shifting a stable coin, more or less getting the same yield, even risk adjusted. You get more control, more transparency. It's actually such a small ask. And the cool thing, what I love about Ethereum, we have so many people that even do stuff not only for their own bags, but they're a bit hidden.
Exactly.
Of course, 80%, 90%, I like that. But I'm here because of the 10% that care a bit more. And that's what we want to facilitate. And because sometimes it's very hard to build trustless projects, and you only realize and evaluate when it's too late. If shit happens, then you need it, but then nobody has built it. That's why I say, hey, we need to take a bit care. That's like a small plant in its corner. Let's not kind of cut it off. And therefore, we also need a bit this support, because it's always easier to make shortcuts. And I think that's also part of the Trustless Force. Yeah, let's make good products. Let's make them attractive for our own bag, so the shift is little. But also let's help a bit for the people that go the extra mile, that create these public goods sometimes, and help them a bit, to drive the growth, to help with connections and so on, so we can keep this unique ecosystem. Honestly, that at the end also helps Ethereum, because it's not only the differentiator on the base layer, like I said. If it's just the centralized database, then great that we're building this tech that everybody can build on the computer. But if we have this sovereign dollar, this truly digital dollar, nobody can take away, and only we control, then I think we have given meaning to Ethereum, and we can do that also in other ways. So I agree. Hey, people move if they have a case, but I believe in the 5 to 10% people in Ethereum ecosystem that do it for the right reasons. And that's also, we want to be a bit, maybe also the place where these people connect and can bring that great spirit that is really dispersed. I always meet these people and say, oh, Liquity is so great, I really like it. But they're kind of scattered. And I think that's why I think we are a force, and we need to make it more a force, like Vitalik does it, for the base layer, like the privacy people do it. Again, privacy the same. You need people that are idealistic and pushing that. And that's what we want to do for sovereign stuff, trustless stuff, decentralized stuff. That's on a high level where we put some of our energy, that's also some idealism that I say, okay, I put some of my time into it to keep that spirit.
Just to add something to this, I think trustless is a spectrum, so different protocols have properties, and some are like more like this, and others are more like this. And I think what we could also achieve basically with this is that we make it a value, basically, again, a public value. Trustless is a value you want to achieve if you want to do independent real DeFi somehow. And then hopefully people will also take the step and go in this direction and build it into stuff, because sometimes it's easy. It's not always like very difficult. Sometimes somehow it's not no brain or not, but you can easily build in some things which brings you more in this direction. It's not always hard to do it, and just having this as a value, it's like worth it. People are building things that they think about this, and maybe find other ways to be trustless than me or Liquity or whatever.
Any like efforts that are already going on behind the scenes that you guys maybe can share? I'm guessing you're already talking to some entities with treasuries, especially like very much like you guys have mentioned here, like very Ethereum aligned ones that maybe you guys can share that are already like considering taking a few percent out of their like treasuries and putting them into decentralized stablecoins?
Yeah, of course, we started these tasks, but it's really early on. We need to take step by step, and it's a grassroots movement, and we have all full-time jobs and also projects. But that's exactly the case, to go out and get these treasuries. We also, want kind of to honor these people that do these things also because they care about the space. And and I think that's what we go after. But of course, this is also a bit a wake-up call. People that have this passion and want to support or see opportunities, or that if there are treasuries around and they say, hey, we are ETH aligned, we're giving Gitcoin grants, we could also just shift that. Guys, we have just done that. That would be great. And we really like to give them shout outs also to these people. But we will incorporate that also in our business development. And for me, it's also changed that I say, hey, it's, we have a spectrum of stable coins, but you need to understand the bigger case. And then I think we can grow together the pie much bigger. And so we are in talk. So I can say we haven't announced, but for example, tomorrow we have also a podcast with the Nance DAO. These guys, such people, even through a DAO proposal, that would be great sign. So we're going to the community and pitching that and saying, hey, are we aligned? Isn't a step that you can take? That's something that's coming tomorrow, 1 CET. The podcast should go live. But you see, it's very improvised. We're on the run, but on the go. But I think these things we want to harness, but we are dependent on others that say, hey, please come also to our podcast. I like it. I want to contribute in some way. And maybe I can highlight, and that's in our purpose, the Trustless Force purpose, which is on the X page. Maybe you can share it. I think I see 4 areas where people can contribute. Can you share that?
You can try to share your screen and then I will prove it. I don't know what you're
I need to find it. So you find it on the X account. There is why are we doing it
on the Trustless Force X account? You mean?
Yeah, exactly. But the 4 areas. As I said, this is also a call for contribution. So one is of course building. If we have builders like we are in protocols that build, but it can be also tooling. That's cool. We should support these people that make it convenient and that build trustless solution, that we have them ready and going when we need them. So that's the first one. Then
you mean
of course
this one, by the way? You mean the article?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Like, give us like a brief of the article, and if you can touch on these 4 ways of contribution, I think it will actually be great.
Cool. Okay. So, but I try to make it short. The why I think we have said, I think we're on the greatest chain to create this solution. We want to foster this community, grow the community of these people united and use our force. I think we have an extreme force. Just imagine what, for example, Joe Lubin has done a consensus for the space, because he was exactly such a believer. He invested in companies and bootstrap the whole ecosystem. And I think, we have these great people. We need to work together. Okay, so the how is really, as I said, how can we foster that? Building solution, creating awareness is really important. Education, as Martin said, these stablecoins are different. That people just understanding they hold a stablecoin and the yield, what is attached to it, and maybe what is different. And it's a spectrum, even within us. I think let's be transparent and tell people where is trust involved, where isn't it involved, so they can make these decisions. So that's certainly one. And the other one is really drive adoption, and that's why we said we have this first mission, stablecoins, let's shift, let's show that we can make change and support these solutions and the ecosystem by having these missions. And there could be more missions, if there are more people, let's find other missions that make sense, that are value aligned. And Yeah, I think so drive adoption, actually, at one point, it's really also the usage. Yet let's not forget, education is not to understand, but people make a difference to protocol like us if they are used. And, maybe it's an extra step. Okay, the liquidity isn't so good, but think of it, if we don't do that, these small plants there in the corner which we might need won't be around if you don't care. I think that's also a bit the message. So, and the last thing, the how is more kind of where we have to focus, how can we move trustlessness, and the what is really how can people contribute in these areas. And I think I mentioned that, but especially on the awareness, that people bring on these people, that is also the idea. We're open, that we invite protocols, that they showcase how are they trustless, where do they try to minimize trust. And we want to be open. It's a bit a spectrum, but I think we want to value everybody that takes a step to minimize trust, in a sense, relying more on code, or not on single people and centralized parties, driving this mindset. And at the end, who can be that? We have 4 categories, which we also then at the end want to honor a bit. So if we see people really doing great work, let's give them a shout out. Let's give them also some kudos. We are in that way, because often you don't see them, they get forgotten, they don't get funding, they bleed out their projects. So let's avoid that. So you have the best thing everybody can do using these solutions, being it trustless or privacy stuff, advocating. There are a lot of people that care. Just give a shout out, highlight, help us, help these projects, the rebels, the people that build, that really do that. That's the difference. We are focusing more on the dApp layer. I think there are a lot of people, and we're doing great work also on the base layer, where we have the Trustless Manifesto. So these things are great too. And but that's why I tell more about builders on the protocol side. And then, of course, if people say, hey, like I gave Gitcoin grants, so there are good ideas, or how can I help even with donation, grants, and so on, of course, that's always welcome. But as I said, we can make very good, big steps if everybody of us takes some responsibility and, for example, shifts 5%. If we have some, bigger treasuries that are ETH-aligned and do that, actually, that's all you need for the stablecoin space, and then maybe there are other areas. So now I have talked a lot. I shut up quickly so the others can also maybe add some flavor to it and their view.
Yeah, I would just want to say, if anyone listens to this and feels concerned by what we're saying, just share your ideas, share the projects you like, tell the projects the projects you like in the community about the initiative and why you like them, and come to us, tell us about them. And I just wanted also to give an example of the builders, what a builder could be, because like you said, the idea is also to make it easy, to make it easy to shift your 5% to trustless stablecoins, or to use even other kind of trustless solutions. But just to use the trustless stablecoins example, we could make it very easy to shift from USDC to trustless stablecoins by building a trustless vault that would allocate to all 3 yield-bearing strategies, for instance, by using the most efficient routes. And the thing is, in DeFi, there's people building routing liquidity in the most efficient way. There are people building trustless vault infrastructures, and these guys could contribute by helping building this, so that people could shift easily to trustless stablecoins. It's just an example. There could be dozens of them, but if you're related to one of these kind of protocols that could help, if you think of a way to make trustless easier and more convenient, so that we can onboard people more easily to these values, just raise your hand, come say hi, and let's build together. Let's make trustless cool again. And I believe that, crypto is kind of boring right now, probably because most of people. I'm sorry, I'm getting ejected from my co-working. It's 10 p.m. here. I'm gonna finish in the corridor. So yeah, crypto is getting boring because I think many people made short-term oriented choices, and it doesn't make sense. It makes money, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think many people in the industry right now are desperate for sense in their life, not only on chain. And I believe like committing, and this is why I decided to join Aladdin DAO in the first place, because it made sense to me. Like the way products were built by Aladdin made sense to me. And I also love the way you guys build, by the way, Liquity and Curve. And joining forces for this initiative to make Trustless easy, accessible, understandable to everyone makes a lot of sense to me and makes me happy. And I'm pretty sure that most people that will join the initiative will feel the same.
Yeah, that's good words.
You want to add
Thank
something, Martin?
No.
From your side?
I'm like, yeah. No, I've never.
Breaking out in
I
tears.
just remember as we met in Buenos Aires, and I was like critical about the industry, and then Cyrille was like, "Yeah, but we are resilient," and this was like stick. Yeah, it stick with me. We are slow sometimes, but if you have solutions, the solutions are like good and like sustainable, and they will be basically be there to stay. It's not like something is just disappearing the next moment, and I think that's why many people who, as you say, this maybe it's boring right now, but people stick to this place because of this, basically.
And to add, maybe, what Cyrille said, we want to really be also be the platform and highlight what people already do. For example, shout out to the DeFi collective, which really looks on a technical level, what are centralization vectors. I think it's great. We should make that more public. Maybe there are other stuff. So let's really break it down for people that listen and say, yeah, I feel the same like Cyrille. So I think our main venue right now is our X account, Trustless Force. Follow there. If you have idea, if you want to contribute, I think the DMs are open. We also looking into Telegram group. Just want to take it a bit step by step, because we don't have unlimited capacity, and then kind of these groups get swamped and shielded. So yeah, we also will put a bit of trustless kind of proof of trustlessness. I think everybody needs to do that a bit, or be at least transparent. I think we want to keep a bit the ethos. That's the website. Follow it, get in contact. The most that you can help right now is giving us and other projects a platform, come up with ideas who, we want to bring in other projects that have the same values, give them also a platform like we have here now. So get in touch, let us know who should get more spotlight. And of course, for us, and that was the initial spark, if you're a treasury, if you're a whale, let us know. Once you have shifted more than 5%, or we're happy to educate what are the solutions out there, give us a shout out, and we would also like to honor kind of and show the sign to the community that some people care and they move. And I think that will motivate others. So you can be really the spear tip to help roll this movement, and just having these actions and letting us know and saying, hey, our treasury is already 15-20%, or I shifted. I think that's the signs we want to see. So these are 3 very concrete things. Let us know. You can do even more or more projects, or we can have new missions, but then I think we really need also your workload behind it. You can come in, and if you push something and not only are kind of talking and bringing ideas, but we really want to drive action, then you're more than welcome.
Yeah, and I would add.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I would add that we have a Telegram group that we for the next 24 restricted, and make sure to keep things qualitative. So I can share the link right now if you guys feel like interested by what we said. Feel free to join.
Let's leave it. Let's put it in the comments, and I will also later add it to the description. Let's, if you have the link, share it.
But the idea,
group or whatever.
The idea is not to share it publicly, but rather just here quickly in the private chat. I think whoever joined, I think is interested enough. Whoever stayed around for an hour, kind of to listen.
What do you mean, like a Telegram channel? Okay,
No,
okay.
I think you wanted to paste it here in the chat that people have it, because we also don't want to open it and then we have all these bots and need to moderate so early
That's
on,
it.
maybe later.
I will make the group invitation based after, but I think for people who listen live, they probably want to join. And then it's going to be invitation based to keep things in high quality.
Whatever works.
I don't know where to share it. I can't access the chat. I'll share it to you, the advisor.
Yeah, great. And we will talk about it, like exactly how you want to push this forward, all of you. Guys, before we wrap up, anything that you want to add that we haven't touched on yet?
I need to go, guys. I need to leave. I'm really being kicked out. So
thank you, Cyrille. Thank you for your time so much. Appreciate it. Enjoy over there.
Project.
Ciao.
Thank
Ciao.
you, guys. See you.
Bye.
Yeah, I think let's wrap it up. You know, I wanted to share the Telegram link, but honestly, somehow I can't. We figure something out. But easiest is on Twitter and DM right now, and then everything else will follow.
Definitely. I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing about the Trustless Force. It's an honor for us at Leviathan News to be the first venue that you choose to do it. I think, as I've already told you guys on the Telegram group and to you personally when we met, Michael, honestly, as our little contribution from Leviathan News and my own for this initiative, which I'm very much interested in, I really I opened the doors of Leviathan News and our hub and media outlet in order for it to be the home of the Trustless Force broadcasting. I actually think we should have this a recurring show, a regular show, whether it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever you want, where we discuss things, discuss the situation, we show progress. We hopefully have on guests from different entities or whatever that are keen on joining the Trustless Force or supporting it in any way or putting some of their treasuries into it, and really just become this hub of actually uniting all these efforts that, like you say, are scattered all around the world, but it's all about us uniting according to this ethos. And this ethos of decentralization is indeed something which is very dear to heart for all of us, and especially for us at Leviathan News, where our whole point is decentralized crypto media, and I really think it resonates with what we're trying to do. And I commend you for taking this initiative and doing these moves in order to really just improve the situation of the industry and create more stablecoin diversification, creating more opportunities, and just better balance with the way on-chain funds are dealt with. And I really think it's a challenge we should all be accepting, and excited to participate and contribute to it however we can. Thank you so much, Michael, Martin, Liquity Protocol, Care Finance, FX Protocol, Cyrille as well. And follow us, of course, at Leviathan News, and also follow the Trustless Force on X. Let me just one more time show it on screen. Guys, I want to refresh it in an hour and see at least 100 followers there. So if you don't mind, go to x.com, Trustless Force. Let's see, let's do another refresh here. Let's see what's the situation. We're not that far from 100. We did get quite a few there. Okay, 2 more. Guys, take us over the hump. And really contact Michael, myself, Martin, Cyrille, or whomever, if you have any thoughts on how to really take this forward and push towards stablecoin decentralization. And hope to catch up with you soon. By the way, Michael, just one last thing. You said that tomorrow you guys are with the Nounce DAO. Where can people find it and listen?
We will post it on the Twitter channel. I need to check my Telegrams and then update everything. Yes, so stay tuned on the X. Thank you for hosting. Help us shift 5% into trustless stablecoins. I think we can do it.
Amen. Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. Good luck.
Bye-bye.